So how much did I actually make inventory wise in the 4 weeks? Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronica and I run my own small business called Looping Teddies. And welcome back to week 4, or the final week of my 4-week market prep challenge, where I try to make as many plushies as possible to best prepare myself for the next events that are coming up. So we have started the last week of market prep and I definitely want to get a lot ready this week. It's currently Monday, it is April 28th, and my next market is on this Sunday, so that is May 4th. I also really want to get into my wristlets. I didn't really start working on them in the last couple of weeks, so I would really like to get some of those finished. My plan for now is that I will prep as many plushies as possible today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So those 3 days will be mostly plushie days. Then Thursday is a public holiday where I live, so it's May 1st, and I will not be doing any small business work then because we have lots of traditional celebrations going on, so I will be out for most of the day on Thursday. And then on Friday, I basically have the whole day to work on wristlets, get my candles ready, get all of the extra stuff ready. On Saturday, I will be out of the house for most of the day, so I won't have a lot of time. So that will be mostly spent packing all of my market inventory and getting all of that ready. So yeah, that is the game plan for this week. I came into the studio this afternoon. I have finished my workday because I got an Etsy order last night and I really wanted to pack it up because I already have the item that sold in my inventory and I will be heading into work tomorrow. So when I go into the office, I usually try and take any packages that I can drop off on those days. So I really wanted to get that packed up. But before that, I wanted to show you what I've been working on since I ended my last video, which ended yesterday. But last night I got super busy with making lots of turtle parts. So I still have a couple of turtles left over from last week. I still have 3 turtles to finish up, but I am running out of the yarn color for those, so I will need to pick up my yarn order that is currently sitting at the post office. I think I will pick that up tomorrow, so we will have a little bit of a yarn haul then, and then I can finish these turtles. This is the color combination that I want to make these in. So this is what I like to call my natural looking turtle because it is very natural looking. So we have the green shell and then the brown body. So once I pick up the brown in my yarn order, I can finally finish those 3. But then I was working on some more plushies. So as I said, I was working on turtle parts and I usually have the same color combinations of turtles at every market. So I'm currently trying to remake all of the ones that sold at my last market. So with this beige colored body, so this is a head if you can't tell. Currently it's still missing the eyes because I left all of my 12mm eyes over here in the studio. I forgot to take them home. I usually have a stash here and then a stash of safety eyes at home, but I took all of my 12mm eyes over here to replenish my stock over here, and then I forgot to take them back home, so I didn't have any, so I couldn't work on the heads or the turtles in general any further last night. So this is what the head is looking like, and with this colored body I was missing 4 of the colors I usually try and bring to my markets. So I made all of the shells for those. We have light blue, mustard, light green, and then this dark turquoise. So all of those 4 combinations sold at the last market. So I remade those and I made all of the parts for the turtles. So 4 heads and 16 fins. So we can finish those up as well with the other 3 turtles. And then the other thing that I was working on is I currently have a custom order open for a sheep snuggler. So I have had this one open for a little bit and I finally wanted to start working on it, and I did last night. So I have the head already finished. This is what it's looking like. And then I realized I actually have to put another yarn order in because I ran out of this color. So I was making the arms for the sheep and I ran out of this beige brown color, and I currently don't have any more of it, and I forgot to order that with my last yarn order, so I will need to put another order in for that color because I really want to get this custom order out pretty soon. And I also would like to make some snugglers again pretty soon to have some of those in my market inventory as well, because they tend to do pretty well with custom orders. I have a couple of posts about them on my Instagram, and then I've had a couple of people reach out to ask about the snugglers and order them like as a custom order. So I think I should have a couple of those at my markets, and then also possibly do Etsy listings for the little sheep snuggler, and then I also have a bunny snuggler pattern, so I should probably put those two listings up as well for people to order those. But now I will actually go ahead and pack up my Etsy order for the little penguin so that can head out tomorrow. Okay, so I've now picked out the little order. So here's the little penguin. I will now go ahead and tag him since he doesn't have a tag yet. So I usually leave my tags blank for Etsy orders just in case that they're a gift. So I have a price sign on there as well. That's part of the tag, but I leave that blank for the Etsy orders. And actually he has the end of the yarn sticking out a little bit, so we will hide that again. And then I have already picked out all of the things that I always include into my orders. This wasn't ordered over my link, so like over my Instagram. So I always like to include a business card and then just like freebie stickers and the thank you card that has the QR code that leads right back to my Etsy shop for customers to leave reviews. So now let's pack it up.
It comes and goes in the blink of an eye. Soon as I swear you've been left behind, all the colors come back so bright. Wish I could keep you in black and white, sort of like a picture in a drawer I don't wanna look at anymore, but it's too hard to ignore that I'll never not feel like yours. Holding on to someone new's the only time I feel like I'm still holding on to you. It's like an instant rewind to New Year's Eve at midnight. Taste your lips like Napa red wine. Wish I wasn't looking back on you.
Okay, my dears, we now have quite a big time jump because it's already Friday and I'm back at the studio to finally check in with you and give you a little bit of an update of what I've been working on. It's also super hot in here in my studio, so this will be interesting once actual summer hits. But actually it has been quite hot today, so I was actually in the studio earlier today and I was pouring lots of candles, as you can see over here. And I tried filming a little bit, but it was just too hot to talk to the camera and look presentable at all. So I'm hoping that this is now fine because it's actually quite late already. It's almost 6:30, so it is finally starting to cool down a little bit, even though it's still pretty hot in the studio. But I wanted to check in and show you guys what I've been working on in the past couple of days, because I actually got quite productive. So I believe last time I talked to you on Monday and I showed you lots of turtle parts that I was working on. And I've actually finished up all of the turtles I showed you last time. So we have 4 completed turtles here that I will get to put into my market prep planner. That is one of the things I want to do either today or probably tomorrow, is put all of the finished plushies into the market prep planner and also give you like a grand total of what we've been able to accomplish in the 4 weeks of market prep, because I'm actually really interested to know how much we prepped in those 4 weeks. But then next up, I also worked on the other turtles I showed you last time. So the natural looking turtles, I ended up finding one more skein of the beige color that I use for the bodies. And I finished up the 3 turtles I showed you last time. So we have those 3 natural looking turtles finished as well, which makes it a total of 7 completed turtles. And then I was just like on a turtle kick, so I made parts for 3 more turtles, and I haven't finished up those yet. So we have 2 light blue bodies. I also have the fins for those, and then 1 lilac body. So we have the head and the fins for that one as well. And I also have the 2 shells for the blue turtles finished. So we have these 2 darker blue shells, and we just have to finish those up probably tomorrow, because today I'm actually heading out for dinner in just a little bit. But I wanted to finally check in with you and talk to you, because I feel like I have been slacking this week with giving regular updates on my crochet. So I really wanted to give that update. And I also feel like I'm running out of time for this market prep, because I still have quite a lot to do for that. I still have the big box of plushies back there, the wooden box with plushies I still need to tag. So those were the ones that I made after the last tagging session, and there's quite a lot in there, so we need to do that before the market. I also need to finish all of the works in progresses that are in here. And then I also wanted to go through my wristlets and check to see which ones I'm currently sold out of, and make at least one of each color. So that should be a couple more wristlets, because I ended up selling out of a couple of colors at my last market. So I will hopefully do that just now. That shouldn't take me a long time. And then in terms of candles, I also need to fix those up, because I poured them today and they're dried, but they have like little sinkholes. They always get that, even though it was pretty hot in here and they cooled nice and slow. They still tend to develop sinkholes like right next to the wicks, and I will have to like stab them a little bit and then heat gun the tops of them so that they're nice and smooth and also like better like functional. So that will have to get done tomorrow. And then I obviously have to cut the wicks still, because they're like way too long still. So that should take me quite a long time. I also need to pack the candles up tomorrow. So yeah, there's quite a lot to do still. And for now, I will continue to show you what I've been working on, and then we will take inventory for the wristlets so that I can hopefully take a little bit of yarn in the car for when we're going out to dinner later on, like in a little bit. And I can work on a couple of wristlet like strings for the wristlets today still, so we can just finish them up tomorrow. That is what I'm hoping for. So let's finish up the little tour of what I've been working on. So I decided to move on after all of the turtles I made this week. I moved on to these rainbow bees, because before that I didn't have any of them in stock. So I made these, and I already completed this one and then one more. So this one with these 2 finished. And then I have 6 more bodies finished with the eyes already added. So I just need to stuff them and close them up. And then I also have all of the wings made for those. So I just need to sew them on then, which shouldn't take me long. I definitely want to complete all of the plushies. So the 3 turtles and the 6 rainbow bees until my market. So that is a goal for tomorrow. But now, as I just said, I will check my wristlets and see what colors I need to make for the market, so that I have at least one in every single color. Okay, so this is the box that I have all of my wristlets in, and this is the way I also transport them to market. So let's see what we have left from last time. So it actually looks like a good amount, but I know that I am missing a couple of colors. So I know that I have 12 colors of wristlets, and I also bought one new one. So before I had 11 colors, but my pegboard has 12 pegs for wristlets. So I want to have another color so that every single peg has a new color. So I definitely know I need to make some in a new color. That was quite a lot of color in one sentence, but yeah, let's see. I usually like to have 3 in every single color because they fit perfectly onto the pegs. like 3 of every single color, but I would be happy if I have 1 of each made until the market, so that at least it looks kind of full. So we have this one, we have 3 of, so we can get that out of the way. And then we have actually 10 colors that we have at least 1 of, so we're actually just missing 2 colors. So that's actually better than I thought. So let me get out the 2 colors that I'm missing, and I know that I can actually work on those first so that I have some of every single type of wristlet that I can offer finished. Okay, so these are the 2 colors that I'm currently completely missing. This is the new one. I'm really obsessed with it. This is the color Aloe. And I think that this will be pretty popular because mine, like greens and blues, tend to do pretty well. And this is like the perfect turquoise, greenish, sage-like color. And I think that's like very trendy. So I will definitely work on those tonight. And then we have this, which is another turquoise. So as I said before, these are pretty popular. So that's why I'm completely sold out of it. So I will work on that one as well. And then I actually have some strings made up already, like this, and they're already like with the hardware attached. So I just need to close them up and then like do the little like wrap part of the wristlet. So like this part still, but that can get done pretty quickly. So I'm actually quite happy that I have lots of these finished. So that should get me quite a good amount of wristlets completely finished up. So I can make quite a lot of colors to actually have 3 of the wristlets. So let me actually pick out, I think it's just 2 more colors that I only have 1 of after finishing up the rest of the strings. So I will pick out these colors as well. So I have 4 colors to work on tonight. And then I will check in tomorrow and show you all of the strings of wristlets I have finished. And then tomorrow the big goal is to finish up the wristlets, finish up the works in progresses, get the grand total of inventory that I prepped in 4 weeks, tag the rest of the plushies that still need tagging, and then fix up the sinkholes. And of course, package all of the candles. That also should take a little bit. And pack the car. So that will be the goals for tomorrow. And I hope I can finish up a couple of these like strings tonight. And we will see each other tomorrow. Okay friends, I'm now back at the studio. It's Saturday, so it is the day before my market, and I have just been finishing up my candles because they tend to have like sinkholes and stuff when I pour them and they cool for the first time. So I just stab them and make them so that the surface is completely flat and they are ready to go. So that is what I have been doing so far in the studio today. But I wanted to also check in with you and show you what I was working on yesterday, because I got quite a lot done last night. So I ended up taking 4 of my wristlet colors to the dinner we were heading out to, and the dinner was just with family, so I knew like after we're done with eating I would have a little bit of time to crochet like on the side. So I ended up taking the 2 colors that I didn't have in stock. So this one I was sold out of, and this one is the new color. And then I also took the 2 colors that I only had 1 in stock of. So this really nice lavender color, and then this avocado color. This one is the most popular, so this one is always like low in stock. So I wanted to make at least a couple of each of those, and I ended up finishing quite a lot of them actually. Let me just show you the amount of each color that I made. So apparently I made 4 in this lavender color. So I still have 1 left in this color, which means I now have 5 of these in stock. I made 3 in this new color, in the aloe color. So I now have 3 of them in stock, which is the ideal inventory for those. I made 4 in the turquoise color. I'm not really sure what it is called because the label is gone for that one. So we now have 4 in stock for those. And then because it's my best-selling color, I was working on the green for quite a bit, and I actually made 5 in the green color, which means I now have 6 in stock of those once I finish all of them up. But I think that having these like be the one that I have the most of quantity wise is a wise idea, because this color is always popular. So that is why I tried to make a couple more of that color. And I'm actually, this is still the first skein I bought of that, and I think I made around like 20 or so of these wristlets so far, and we still have a little bit left. So these actually hold for a long time, so you can make quite a lot of wristlets from each of those skeins, which is good because these are like slightly pricey. They go from anywhere between like 10 to 15 euros a skein, so that's kind of a high startup cost, but they are definitely worth it because you can get so many wristlets out of those. So in total, I ended up making 16 wristlets or strings for wristlets yesterday. And then we still have a couple like in stock from before that I showed you yesterday. So now the first order of business is to go ahead and actually finish up the wristlets. So all of them, the ones I was working on yesterday and also the ones I still have in stock, to have quite a lot of wristlets finished for tomorrow. So that is the first thing that we will do right now. Hi friends, I'm now back, and you're probably wondering what happened after the last clip, because it's now obviously a very different day than the last clip where you saw me where I was finishing up my wristlets. So it's actually almost a week after I filmed the last clip for this video, and quite a lot has happened since then. I will go into more detail on what happened for my last market in my next video, which is the regular video that will be coming out this Friday. So stay tuned for some stories, because quite a lot happened, which meant for me that I kind of stopped market prepping on Saturday after I was working on my wristlets, which you just saw. So I didn't really take any more footage on Saturday. I did finish up all of my wristlets in the meantime. I brought them over here so I can show them to you. I have all of them finished up. I never had this many wristlets in stock before. This box is actually kind of too small for them. So I have now 42 finished wristlets. I still need to make a couple more because 2 colors I still only have 2 of. So these 2 I still need to make some more. And I just really want to have quite a lot of them in stock, but this is more than I've ever had before, so I'm pretty happy about that, and I'm sure that I will sell them eventually. So I'm glad that I still finished them up, even though the weekend turned out very different than what I had thought. But even though this was kind of chaotic, I still wanted to give this video a good closure and also answer the big question for the 4 weeks of market prep, because the whole point was to market prep as much as I possibly could in the 4 weeks between the 2 events. So I still wanted to finish up the video in the way that I had planned it to go. So I still wanted to give you the grand total of everything I prepped and all of that. So let me just gather all of the finished plushies so we can get kind of like a bigger overview of everything that is now in my inventory. Okay, so this is now my full inventory. Some of it I had left over from the last events. So I didn't prep all of this in the past 4 weeks, but I prepped most of it since I just looked it up and I only had 29 plushies left after the last events. And I now have 215 plushies finished. So I made quite a lot of these. So most of them were made in the past 4 weeks. 186 plushies to be exact. So these are the bigger plushies that are completely finished. I have all of them already tagged. So these are completely finished and ready to go to the next market. Same for these. These are my mini plushies and all of them are finished up all the way as well. So they're all finished and tagged and they're all priced already as well. So I just printed out lots of these like €6 tags and they're all completely finished to go to the next market. And then these are the plushies I mostly made in the past week and a half. So these are all of the plushies that are currently not tagged. So I will need to do that still and tag them so I can add them into this big plushie bin, because I think I only have a couple of mini items that I still need to tag. So these will be going into this bag and then all of the bigger plushies will go into the big bin. So I can have all of them in there and take them to my market in the bag and the bin. So that will be the place where I store them until my next event. Okay, and since I know that a lot of you guys are market prepping as well, or prepping to go to their first market, I wanted to include all of the numbers and all of the types of plushies I currently have in my inventory as well, so that you can get like a little bit of inspiration from my inventory. So let's go over the types of plushies, and I will be using my handy dandy market prep planner to tell you the numbers for each type of plushie. So first of all, for baby octos, and I will try and put pictures up here as well for you to know what I'm talking about. So for my baby octos, I have 28 of those made and I sell them for €6 each. I have 15 mini chicks with hats made. I sell them for €6 each as well. I have all 50 of my baby whales made, and I have decided to increase the price of those to €6 as well, because I used to sell them for €5, but people usually don't really care if it's €5 or €6. They let their kids pick out any mini plushie, so I think that it just makes sense to have all of the mini plushies at the same price point. So we will see how that goes. Then for my popping mushrooms, I have 24 of those made and I sell them for €6 each. I have 19 bees made up and I sell them for €8 each. I have 10 bee chains, so bees on keychains, finished up, and I sell those for €6 each as well. And for the other mini items, so all of the ones I talked about before, I have an option to add a keychain onto the mini item right at my booth for €1, because I have lots of different colors for those plushies and I don't want to have like some with keychains and some without, and then people want a different color but like with a keychain, or without but I only have them in the other version. So I just have this option for people to pick out their plushie and I will add a keychain onto that. And that option has been quite popular because lots of people like to make their mini items into a keychain. Then on the next page, let's move on to some bigger items. I have 5 cats finished and I sell them for €14 each. I have 15 of my turtles finished and I sell those for €16 each. I have finally made up some big octos again. I hadn't had them for any of my markets this year so far. So I now have 4 of those made up again and I sell those for €15 each. I also tried to make a couple more brontosauruses this time because they have been super popular this year so far. So I currently have 5 of those made up and I sell them for €22 each. And then let's move on to my stress ball birds. They are always super popular, and I think one of the reasons why is that I market them as stress ball birds, so people are like really inclined to touch them and like squish them and try them out as a stress ball. So these are always a great option at my booth. I have 3 types of those little stress ball birds. So I have chicks, I have mallard ducks, and I have penguins, and I sell all of them for 10 euros. So currently I have 10 chicks made up, I have 7 mallards made up, and 8 penguins. So that is one thing that I really want to improve the numbers on for the next market because they are popular. Then I have 10 of my chicken made up. I had them all left over from the last market. They tend to not do super well for me, but I always like to have a couple of them in stock. So I sell them for 15 euros each. And then I have a couple of like one-off items in stock, some of which I had left over from my last events and some of which I made in the past 4 weeks. So what I had left over was my bear plushie. It's the last one of the triplets. I had 3 of those at the beginning of the year. I made them over the course of the like winter break after Christmas, and I only have 1 of those left. So we will see how long he stays in my inventory. And then I had 1 sheep and 1 flower left over from the last events, and those are both worth 12 euros. The bears I'm selling for 45 euros. I forgot to mention that. And then I made 2 more like bigger one-off items in the past 4 weeks. So first of all, I got to do a pattern test for a ballerina, and I will be selling that one for 40 euros. And she is super cute. She's kind of different than a lot of the other plushies since she's technically not a plushie but like a doll. And then I also tried out a new pattern for a puppy dog, and I will be selling that one for 40 euros as well. So we will see how he does. I think that a puppy will go quite quickly because people usually like to get their pets. So that is why my cats are also super popular usually. And people are like looking for a cat that resembles theirs. So we will see if that is true about the puppy as well. But yeah, that is all of the plushies that I now have in my inventory. As I said before, that is 215 plushies in total, which is quite good. And now let's answer the grand question that has been open for around 4 weeks since we started this market prep challenge. So how much did I actually make inventory wise in the 4 weeks? So in total, my inventory right now, my plushie inventory right now, none of the wristlets, scrunchies, candles, nothing else in those numbers. So my plushie inventory currently is worth 1,943 euros, which is pretty good, I think. I had a little left over from the last events, so we need to subtract that from the total amount of inventory to get what we made in 4 weeks. So from the last events, I had 29 plushies left over, worth 366 euros. So in total, in the 4 weeks, I made 186 plushies, totaling 1,577 euros. And I'm pretty happy about that. That means I made around 400 euros of inventory every single week, which I think is pretty good. And I should probably keep up with that over the course of the year because I got into a pretty long Christmas market. So I will be doing 9 days of Christmas market and then some more markets. So I should keep up with those numbers over the course of the year to have enough inventory to survive the winter season. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of what I got accomplished in those 4 weeks. It has been quite a fun challenge. I didn't only make plushies in 4 weeks as well. So additionally, as you saw, I made lots of wristlets and also lots lots of candles. That is the thing that I'm hoping will help me survive the busy like fall and winter season once these spring markets are over. So I think that that is a great setup for the future events. And I'm sorry that this video was kind of chaotic, like it ended out pretty chaotic, but as I said before, I will be talking about that a little more on Friday. So what happened for the market, and for now, I'm so happy that you stayed all the way until the end for the final part of this market prep challenge. And as I said before, I will see you guys on Friday for another video. So until then, bye!